Rourke's counter argument vid is going to be nothing. She's just going to be like, I like Maxi.
YouTube.
Hello there.
We are going to be watching Ban Maxx by Hardleg Gaming. Apparently, they're going to debunk all of the Maxi myths, and I will be doing my best job at trying to debunk the debunk. So, let's see.
Master Duel needs to ban Maxi. This game has been out for well over a year now, and while it's had its share of legitimate improvements and annoying mistakes, there's one thing which consistently makes the dueling experience worse. Maxi. The Earth Insect is a blight upon Master Duel. It is a card which does nothing for the game, except make it frustrating to play and tedious to watch.
It actually keeps the game's best of one format perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
There is no good reason for Maxi to be legal, and I'm going to prove it by going over every single argument I've heard in defense of Maxi and systematically proving them all wrong. There's a lot of ground to cover, so let's jump right into it with...
It's not broken. You can counter it.
It's not broken, you can counter it. Okay, so that's the first argument. I think this is gonna be the weakest argument. Saying that you can counter a card is always like the weakest argument. So this is a good one to start with. It's easy to debunk.
The most common argument I hear, which essentially boils down to, well, just draw the out. Maxi is no big deal, I hear. There's these little cards called Ash Blossom and Called By. Just use those, idiot. Two things. One, every card has counters. It doesn't matter how broken or powerful something seems.
True.
There is a way to stop it. I mean, you can counter Last Turn and Pot of Greed with Ash Blossom. Does that mean those cards are healthy for the...
Can you actually Ash Last Turn? No way. You can Ash Last Turn?
Hey guys, wait for me. Aw, dang it.
game? Of course not. Just because a card has counters doesn't mean it should be legal. In fact, sometimes the opposite is true, which brings me to point number 2. One of the main goals of the ban list, as admitted by Konami themselves, is to foster deck diversity. They ban the best cards in the game so that players are forced to use something else. Because if the most powerful cards were never hit, then people would continue playing them forever and the game would get stale. Which is exactly what has happened with Maxi. For 16 long months now, the entire life of Master Duel, this bug has been the most played card in the game. And because Maxi is the top card in every format, its 2 counter cards remain at the top as well. So if you're tired of every single deck playing Ash Blossom, you can blame Maxi for that.
I would even expand on his argument and say that it's not just 16 months. The card has been legal at 3 and played at 3 in the OCG for much longer than that. So you can even make your argument stronger by referencing the OCG.
And we know this because in the TCG, where the bug is banned, Ash Blossom fell out of favor during Sprite and Tier Limit format. It simply wasn't impactful enough against those decks to see consistent play. But in Master Duel, since Maxi is in every deck, and Ash Blossom counters Maxi, it has remained one of the most played cards despite the shifting meta. My point is, the fact that we have 2 specific counters to Maxi is part of the problem, rather than see a wide variety of...
Actually, it's 3 counters to Maxi, because you can counter it with Crossout Designator as well.
Cards and strategies, 90% of deck lists start with the same 8 cards, which takes the fun out of deck building and makes the games more predictable and less interesting.
It's not.
Okay, it's not broken, you can play around it. Okay, this is gonna be one that I do have an opinion on. I do actually think that this is relevant, and tier format shows that this is a relevant decision, because you can very well like design decks that can get away with only special summoning once or twice.
Good day, mate.
You can OTK under Maxi, exactly. Like, I've OTK'd under Maxi, where I just said, I don't care, I will play into it, and you will not draw hand traps, because the only hand traps in your deck are Ash Blossom. Because all you play is Ash Blossom and Maxi. So I don't care that you're about to draw 15,000 cards. I'm going to kill you this turn. So I actually kind of agree with this argument. Not completely, because I don't think that every single deck has the ability to play under Maxi in the same way that something like Tier Limit or Branded does. But you know, maybe we should be designing more decks that can do that.
Broken? You can play around it.
Now, the second most common argument I hear is that Maxi isn't worthy of being banned because you can just play around it. After all, when someone activates this card, you have choices. You can continue special summoning and give your opponent more cards, or you can stop summoning and deny them those resources. Maxi defenders will act as though this is a meaningful decision that will have different outcomes. And maybe that's true if you play the game casually, but at the higher tiers of Yu-Gi-Oh, this is a lose-lose situation. Cards are the resource in this game. The more cards you have, the more you can do, especially if you're playing a strong deck where every card has the potential to start a combo. In a meta deck, drawing just 2 cards is a huge advantage, and drawing 3 or more essentially guarantees that you win the game. So if your opponent throws down Max C,
You'd be surprised. You would be surprised. Sometimes card advantage matters, sometimes it doesn't.
Putting yourself in a losing position. Faced with that reality, you might think that it's best to just pass without summoning anything. Except most modern decks have the ability to win the game on an open board, either by just dealing 8,000 damage in one turn, or by establishing enough disruptions to prevent you from playing entirely. The fact is, if you don't put up some defenses, you also lose. In the end, Maxi only offers the illusion of choice. Either way, you're screwed. It's just a matter of if you want to give your opponent the best draw power in the game, or the best floodgate in the game. Take your pick.
Okay, that meme was pretty spicy. The illusion of choice between Vanity's Emptiness or Triple Pot of Greed. That's a spicy one.
It's not broken, just don't play combo.
It's not broken, just don't play combo. Yes. Yes. Just don't play decks that have 15-minute turn 1s to end on 15 million negates. Play control, play mid-range. Play fun decks like Tearlament.
Of course, that previous argument is usually followed up with something like, well, if your deck can't play around in Maxi, perhaps you should expect...
No, not Flunderies. I said fun decks.
Look at this! Let's go have fun! What are you talking about? Yeah, lay it out, man. What I'm talking about is having some fun!
Special summon so much. Listen here, you little gremlin. It is 2023. Every deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Special summons, and they have for years now. With the exception of Fluunderies exactly, every single archetype is going to throw some monsters onto the field sometimes. Monarchs must summon their squires. Yosenjus perform pendulum summons. Spirit monsters have rituals now. And even True Dracos have that trap that special summons out of the graveyard. It doesn't matter how slow and grindy a deck is. Even trap-based controlled archetypes like Eldritch and Labyrinth have to special summon once or twice.
Okay, but out of all the decks that were mentioned here, like Monarchs, kind of just Floodgate Turbo. True Draco, it's kind of just Floodgate Turbo. Eldritch, it's kind of just Floodgate Turbo. Yosenju, I haven't read a Yosenju card since 2014. I haven't read a Ritual card ever. And Labyrinth is based.
And as I just said in the last part, even getting 2 draws off of Maxi can be game determinative. I mean, there's a reason why Maxi has remained the most played card in Master Duel, even in formats dominated by Eldritch and Runic and Fluunderies, because it's not only good against combo decks.
Was there ever a format in Master Duel that was dominated by Eldritch, Flunderies, or Labyrinth? Or Runic? Was there?
It's good against every deck that special summons, which in the modern game is every deck, period.
But we need Maxi to stop the combo decks.
Speaking of combo decks, I should address this little gem. Every time I talk about banning...
Okay, so for this point, I'm going to reference, you know what, actually, this is a point where I start to have like really strong opinions. Let's finish listening to all of Hardleg's.
Maxi, someone says something along the lines of,
But if we do that, the combo decks will dominate the meta.
bitch, the combo decks already dominate the meta. Have you even played this game? Drytron, Adamancipator, Virtual World, Halcyon Piles, Swordful, Sprite, Tearlament, these are all decks that spend their turn.
Tearlament is not a combo deck. You can make it a combo deck.
Nice.
Tearlament is not a combo deck. Sword Soul is not a combo deck. I might argue Virtual World isn't a combo deck, but it can be played as one.
Special summoning. And Maxi didn't do a damn thing to stop them from running rampant. Furthermore, just look at the TCG. The Western format of Yu-Gi-Oh! Has had Maxi banned for years now, and they have not been overtaken by combo decks. In fact, if you compare their meta to the OCG, where Maxi is legal, it's practically the same. So if Maxi is supposed to stop Summon Spam from dominating the competitive scene, then it has failed at that job.
I think that OCG and the TCG have a lot of other differences besides Maxi, but I think that's... I think that final point is incorrect, because we have seen a lot of combo decks surface in the TCG that never really see play in the OCG. For example, Danger Tearlament. You know, like PTSD, Punk, Sprite, Tearlament, Danger. That never that deck never existed in the OCG, but it was arguably the best deck of Power the Elements format in the TCG. So no, I think that there is some degree to which Maxi keeps combo decks in check. The problem, however, is that, and I'm going to quote Joshua Schmidt here. He has an excellent take on this in an old Maxi video. The issue is not Maxi. It's the fact that Maxi doesn't always resolve. So your odds of opening Maxi are 33%, right? It's about a 1 in 3 chance to open a 3 of in a 40 card deck. But because there exists so many answers to Maxi, it actually doesn't resolve 1/3 of the time. It resolves something like a third of the time. Which means that it actually doesn't really keep combo decks in check that much as much as it feels like a draw the out type of thing. It's like, oh, I drew Maxi, my opponent is playing Adamancipator. Oh, but they drew Ash Blossom. I guess I lose anyway.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
I'm a big fan of that argument from Joshua Schmidt. I think that's a better argument than saying it doesn't keep combo decks in check. Because to a certain extent, yes, it does.
My rogue deck needs Maxi to compete.
Look, I get it. I've been there.
Oh, this is just an awful argument. I really, are people actually say my rogue deck needs Maxi to compete? That's silly. That's actually just silly.
I mostly play rogue decks myself, and I know how satisfying it can be to win against some busted combo deck, because you resolved Maxi and drew enough cards to overpower their completely unfair ending. But I also know how absolutely infuriating it is to be facing down one of those degenerate end boards, only to have them drop Maxi on me the second the turn.
I mean, to be fair, like, Farfa should have just drawn the out. You could have just, like, literally called by just clears here.
Starts. It's not enough they gotta play through 5 negates, you gotta do it under Maxi as well. And that's the key here. That's the reason why Maxi doesn't stop combo decks or propel rogue strategies into the top of Diamond. Because combo decks can also play Maxi. Unlike some well-designed cards, the bug has no
well-designed cards? And you link triple tactics talent? Excuse me?
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Excuse me? Okay. You know, I won't die on the hill saying that Evenly is badly designed or saying Extravagance is badly designed or Nibiru is badly designed. I won't die on that hill. Triple Tactics Talent is a mistake. Okay? That card is not well designed. Let's put that foot forward.
Cost or restrictions. You can activate it going first or going second. It doesn't reduce the damage you deal, or limit the plays you can make, or remove any of your cards.
Oh, and you can't activate talents going first or second? Talents restricts your plays? Talents gives you full hand knowledge? Nah.
Cards from the field. You can drop it at any point, in any phase, even if you already control a million negates. You don't need to build...
Now that's kind of true. Sometimes I am of the opinion where I think that maybe Max C could use with a small errata to just say you cannot activate, like you can only activate this card if you control no cards. That I think would be nicer, maybe, but I would have to test it. It's theoretical. It's hypothetical.
Deck around it, you don't have to include potential bricks, and there is zero risk to activating it.
No, not just the gamma restriction, like a full you cannot control cards. No, Yami, that's pointless. If you do that, then it just becomes terrible. I think it should just be like you cannot control any cards, but then afterwards you can do whatever you want.
Because it costs nothing. Every deck can play Max C, even the broken combo decks. And they do, because, as I said earlier, it's useful against every deck. Even if your rogue strategy is only going to summon once or twice, that's still 2 more extenders for the combo player. So for every game they lose to Max C, they win another one because of it. And in the long run, that balances out. It doesn't stop them from being the best deck. All it does is ensure that 10% of all games will be decided by whoever resolves Max C.
But isn't that already the case? You win some games, you lose some games. You know? Like, doesn't that start to get into the realm of like, well, it kind of just evens out? you know? I mean, does it suck to lose to flipping anti-spell? Yeah, it kind of does, but eh.
Which is the crux of why I hate this card. At the end of the day, I just want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Win or lose, I want to feel like the outcome was the result of intelligent playmaking or creative deck building. I don't want to feel like the game was decided entirely by luck, by whichever player was fortunate enough to open the one card that we're all playing.
Okay, fine. Maxi doesn't stop most combo decks, but it does keep the worst ones in check. Without Maxi, you can see a lot more people getting broken.
This starts to get into my argument.
Cards like Rongo Mini add a Galaxy Tomahawk, and you don't want that, do ya?
Alright, so this one's a bit long, and that's because it actually has a decent point. There are some high-roll combo decks that don't have room for Max C, and these are somewhat kept in check by its existence. If we banned Max C tomorrow, it's likely that these solitaire decks would see a surge in playability. That being said, there's a really easy solution to this. Just ban Rongo Nimiad and Galaxy Tomahawk, and every other FTK enabler for that matter. I mean, it's not as though these are fun and
Shoutouts to Distant Coder and Bish Balkan over here.
interactive cards. If the whole point of Max C is to stop these from showing up, then why not just cut out the middleman and ban them outright? Make sure they don't show up by making them forbidden. Now, this argument in particular was made by several Japanese players when I briefly tweeted at their version of the Master on Twitter.
Hardleg actually tweets in Japanese? That's crazy.
Oh, good.
Shoutouts to Japan. This is the same argument I have, actually. I'll talk about it after he's finished, okay?
They seem to think that the TCG ban list was overly restricted, and they were worried about that same philosophy coming to Master. From what I understand, it's because they like the freedom to play more decks. They want as few cards on the ban list as possible, and they feel that keeping Max C legal is what allows for that, since Max C counters all these broken cards that we would have to ban otherwise. And like, yeah, I guess you are technically able to play Tomahawk Turbo in Master Duel, but what's the point if you're hard countered by Max C? And once again, this feels like the illusion of choice. You can legally play more decks, but those builds won't be competitive.
No. That's an awful point. That's an awful point. That's like saying you don't have the choice to play your Dark Magician deck because Dark Magician sucks. Like, yeah, Dark Magician sucks. Dark Magician has sucked for 25 years, but you can still play it. That's not an illusion of choice. You can make that case about any game that's competitive. Like, not every deck is meant to be the best deck out there, and that's okay. You accept the fact that my deck, I like to play it because it's fun. I accept the fact it's not going to win a high percentage of games, but I still enjoy it. I don't think that's illusion of choice. I think that's very unfair to rogue decks or less powerful decks.
Which means there's no reason to play them on the competitive ladder where the ban list is in effect. The outcome is essentially the same. You're restricted from playing degenerate combo decks. The only difference is that Max C doesn't only counter big combo. There's a lot of mid-range archetypes like Salamandrake and Libromancer that need to special summon a lot.
You know what? I'm about to say it.
Say it.
Every Salamandrake card should be banned. So, you know what? I don't even care. Shoutouts Libromancers, though. Everybody, can we get a Pride Month in chat?
In order to accomplish their basic plays. Both of these are relatively fair control decks, designed to just make 1 or 2 negates a turn and then recycle their resources on subsequent turns. It's just that in order to do that, they need to special summon 4 or more times. Max C hits decks like these harder than most others, essentially knocking them out of meta contention when they might have otherwise been playable. Like, it would be awesome to pilot these decks competitively, but because they auto-lose to Max C as hard as the solitaire combo decks do, they don't see any real play. In that way, I think that having a less restrictive ban list with fewer cards on it actually gives players less choices in what they can play. The fact that all these cards are legal means that a whole bunch of decks are never going to get a chance to shine. Alright, so now that we got a...
Okay, so we got a lightning round here. Alright. Let me address a little bit, because I feel like a lot was said there. You might not like this argument. I don't expect everybody to agree with it. And I don't even fully agree with the Japanese players' takes. I mean, I agree somewhat, but I also don't think that, like, I don't think that being able to play being able to play every deck is good. Having less cards on the ban list is good, but you shouldn't keep cards off of the ban list just for the sake of having a smaller ban list. You know, like, if a card needs to be on the ban list, put it on the ban list. That being said, we go back to the original point here.
Okay.
Max C keeps most of the unfun cards in deck from being competitive. I think this is actually a really good point. So, and I use this example a lot, but in the TCG, we have a lot of really stupid game 2s and game 3s. Sometimes we have really stupid game 1s where your opponent goes full combo and then they pull out a spell canceller and you're playing like Sky Striker or Flunderies, or they like flip a summon limit, or they flip an anti-spell fragrance in the main deck or the side deck in games 2 or 3. Or maybe they don't do spell canceller. Maybe they do, maybe you're prepared for spell canceller. Maybe they make Exterio. And maybe they make Chaos Hunt. Like not Chaos Hunt, that's a bad example. But maybe they do something crazy that you aren't expecting. Like Nightmare Griffin and setting like a broken trap floodgate or a D-barrier or something like that. Nobody plays that stuff in the OCG. In the OCG, nobody like main decks summon limit. People don't like main deck rivalry unless they're playing a floodgate deck. People don't do that. You don't do that because you don't need to. Max C is already so strong of a card. It warps deck building in such a way that it centralizes the meta. But a meta being centralized is not inherently a bad thing. Essentially, Max C it's kind of like Batman to Yu-Gi-Oh's Gotham, where it sort of takes all of that hit, it takes all of that toxicity, and it centralizes it on itself to keep all of the other villainry in check. Because you don't need to play Rivalry or Gozen, you just have Max C. You don't need to flip a Floodgate in your combo deck when you can just drop a Max C. You don't need to flip D-Barrier when you could just flip a Max C. Or drop a Max C. You don't need to flip Summon Limit, you have Max C. So if every single deck plays 3 Max C, 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Called By, and 1 Crossout, you know what? That's fine. Does it suck, kind of, when your opponent full combos drops a Max C and then you're like, well, I lose? Yeah, it does suck. But come on, be honest. You've done it against your opponent too. Like, are you telling me that you, like, let he who is without Max C throw the first stone? Come on. Come on, you have all done it. You have all done it. And if Max C wasn't legal, you would do it with a different card. You would just flip TC Boo against your Sword Soul opponent. You would flip Rivalry against your tier opponent. You would all do it. You would all do it. So isn't it better to just have a toxic card be centralized so that every single deck has an out to it? At the very least, you don't have to feel like, oh, well, I got sacked because I wasn't ready for anti-spell. Like, no, you were ready for Max C, you just didn't draw the out. It sucks, but you can't blame yourself for that. It wasn't a deck building mistake. It was just RNG. So I think Max C is a toxic card. Yes. I think it is a card that is centralizing to the meta. Yes. But I don't think that centralization is a bad thing. That is my opinion of Max C. Let's watch the lightning
round. So now
round.
that we got all the big ones out of the way, it's time for the Goblin Show Lightning Round.
This is an OCG simulator, and the OCG has Max C.
False! The current Master Duel battle list is far different from the OCGs. It may have started similarly, but things have deviated.
Nah, that's the weakest argument I've ever heard. Come on, dude. Master Duel is literally its own format. Master Duel format is so based, it's literally a better ban list than the TCG or the OCG.
Significantly since then, Master Duel is clearly its own format, with its own list, and there is no reason it couldn't ban whatever the hell it wants.
Well, the OCG has Max C, and it's doing just fine.
Debatable, but even if we ignore the quality of the OCG, the fact remains that the TCG doesn't have Max C, and it is equally fine or better.
Excuse me? You think the TCG format is fine? TCG freaking sucks, dude. TCG hasn't had a good format since Kit Kalos was banned. Okay, I'm not gonna say the OCG has the best format either, but come on, let's tone that down. Let's tone that down.
Also, the OCG is a best of 3 format with side decking and a completely different card pool, so maybe that's the reason Maxi works.
No, OCG is best of 1 Swiss and best of 3 Top Cut, so they still have to deal with best of 1 in they still have to deal with it in Swiss.
Think about that.
Still, this is a Japanese game marketed to a Japanese audience. They don't care what Americans think, and they never will.
Then why did they release the game in America, in English, with a huge advertising campaign?
This is the same thing as the first lightning round. Master Duel is its own format. It is its own format. What other format has instant fusion and terraforming banned? Come on. Give Master Duel some respect. It's not a copy of the TCG or the OCG. It is literally its own platform and its own format. And I think it's time we start treating it that way.
This is the most Cope reasoning since Cope came to Cope Town. Master Duel obviously wants Western customers, which means the devs should heed our criticisms.
But most of the players are in Japan, and the Japanese love Maxi.
The Japanese are not a monolith. They don't...
What? There's like 20,000 people that play Master Duel in Japan. I can't see it being any higher than that. There's no way the Western audience is smaller than the Japanese audience.
All agree with each other all the time. They are people with individual opinions, and I know for a fact that not all of them like the book. But even if I'm wrong, even if every Japanese player loves it, will they quit the game if it's banned? I doubt it. If Western players can put up with Maxi being legal for well over a year, then surely Japanese players can at least try playing with it banned. Experiment! The forbidden list is changed every month. If the OCG players revolt at losing their precious Maxi, then the devs can just put it back to 3. There's no risk.
Okay, that I agree with. I do think that because Master Duel actually has TCG, where are you? Because Master Duel actually has consistent ban list every single month, I actually think there would be no harm in, just trying it out. Maybe try out Maxi at 0, see how it works for a month. Just to see. It wouldn't be that bad.
Shut up! You're just a noob who doesn't know what they're talking about.
Fool! I've played this game for 10 years now. 10 long years. And I've made YouTube content for 8 of those years. So there's video proof of my dueling experience. I've also streamed Master Duel twice a week since launch, and I regularly make it to Diamond. I may not be the best player, but I know what I'm talking about.
You just want to ban Maxi because you always lose to it.
My mother loses to Maxi. But also I play the bug myself, and it helps me win just as many games as I lose, so... Despite my tone, I'm not making this video out of anger.
Give him, we gotta give Hardleg credit.
The only real motivation is to improve the game, to make it more competitive, more interesting for spectators. I kinda do this for a living. I'd like if it thrived and succeeded.
But I think Maxi is fun.
Well, I don't think it's fun. Seems our emotional reasons have cancelled each other out. I suppose we'll have to rely on logic to solve this. And oh, would you look at that? I've made a whole video of logical arguments. Do you have a video of logical arguments? I think not.
Fuck you!
No, fuck you!
That was funny.
Okay, but what about the other broken cards? Surely there are more pressing matters than Maxi.
So this is less of a pro-Maxi argument and more of a deflection, but I hear it often enough that it's worth bringing up regardless. Oftentimes when I talk about wanting to ban Maxi, I'll get people telling me there are bigger fish to fry. What about tier limit, they say? That's the best.
What about tier limit? You wanna fight? Huh? Huh? What's up, bro? What's up, Hardleg? You wanna fight? Keep my girl's name out your mouth.
And it's limiting diversity. By your logic, the devs should ban that too. Yeah, they will. You think they aren't gonna hit tier limit? Of course they are. They've hit every meta tech, and this will be no exception. It's just gonna take a month or two. That's how this game works. Everything broken gets banned eventually. You just get time to play with it. Same with floodgates. Yeah, there's still too many available in my opinion, but Master Duel has been working on that. We've seen many of the worst floodgates get banned or limited, to the point that we almost have a decent list for a best-of-1 game without side decks. The reason that I harp on Maxi in particular is because that card has been a problem since day 1. When Master Duel launched, people were complaining about the Maxi minigame. And I'll admit, having it legal for a few months was an interesting experience. But more than a year later, and any novelty has long since worn off. I'm sick of this card. It's not healthy for the game. It doesn't create fun or interesting scenarios. It doesn't encourage creative deck building.
Here we're just
and
speaking
unlike every other
subjectively.
broken card, it doesn't seem to ever rotate out of the meta. It is a constant problem. And unless we complain about it, I don't think the devs are ever going to fix it.
But complaining about it won't accomplish anything.
Now, this isn't a direct argument for Maxi either, but it is something I hear a lot, and it does help to maintain the status quo, so it's worth going over regardless. Now, first and foremost, Konami is a business, and Master Duel is a product. That product exists for the enjoyment of us, the customers. They make good product, and we give them money for it. This is business 101. So if there's something we don't like about their product, something that makes their service less enjoyable, then it is not only our right to complain, it is our duty to complain. Giving feedback is how we get a better game. Making their game better is how they get more paying customers.
Well, I mean,
Complaining to
this is
companies
true, but
actively improves
that's
things
not
for
a
everyone,
problem
and staying
inherent with
silent
Max
about
C. Like,
problems
you should
is
voice your
objectively bad.
opinions.
Now, of course, when it comes to a business
Regardless
as big as
of whether
Master
they're
Duel
about
with
Max
billions
C or
of
not.
They can't possibly listen to every criticism. Many complaints are going to conflict with each other. For every person saying the timer is too short, there's another complaining that it's too long. Perhaps more importantly, though, most of these complaints are just fleeting emotional responses. This is a competitive game. Players will get salty over lost duels and make stupid demands in the heat of the moment. They do it all the time, and usually they don't have a very compelling argument beyond, "This card make me angry." So if we want our criticisms to be taken seriously, we have to show two things. One, that a majority of customers agree that something is a problem, and two, that we aren't just temporarily angry, that this is a persistent and logical problem. That's why I made this video, and why I spent the last 100+ days on Twitter telling Konami that they need to ban the bug. I'm here to show
I follow
that this
him on
isn't
Twitter.
one
He
guy
actually
getting
has
angry
been
over a
doing
lost
that.
duel. Max C is an objectively bad card. It was poorly designed, it doesn't fit in the modern format, and having it legal in Master Duel actively reduces the fun and excitement of the game. I've held this opinion for well over a year, it is backed up by logical reasoning, and as I've shown in this video, every single counter-argument can be easily dismissed. Max C must be banned, and the only way to accomplish that is for you to help. Let the developers of Master Duel know what we, the paying customers, want. If you're on Twitter, join me by telling @Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel that we should ban Max C. If you speak Japanese and you'd like to appeal to the Japanese developers, you can tell @Yu-Gi-Oh!_MD_info to hashtag this, which I'm told is ban Max C in Japanese. If you're not on Twitter, that's fine. You can petition the company in a variety of other ways. Perhaps the most direct method is using the surveys within Master Duel itself. After every event, the devs ask for feedback. Let them know. This game would be better if they banned Max C. Or if you just want to keep things brief, just copy and paste the hashtag over and over and over again.
Yo,
Get
Giari.
the attention of the Master Duel.
Giari, how do we do hashtag keep Max C at 3? The Yu-Gi-Oh!_MD_info. Can we write that hashtag and just make it a Rourke Carlos original?
Devs is difficult. Konami and its subsidiaries are notorious for not communicating with their customers. But they do listen. They've made changes based on feedback before. And if we make this a big enough issue, if enough people speak up, then they will act. And our requests are not difficult or overly demanding. Either ban the bug outright, or give us a TCG format without it. Or at the very least, give us some explanation. Let us know what your goal is with this game, and why you choose to keep Max C at 3, despite everything I've said here. If they can do that, then perhaps I'll stop this campaign. But until then, the battle continues onwards. Never give up, never surrender. From sea to shining sea, we will beat back the bug and make Master Duel the best it can possibly be. Thank you for listening, and until next time, good luck and have fun.
Oh man. You guys know why I love Hardleg? Because Hardleg is literally just as chuny as I am.